Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you, having a little technical difficulty, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know the Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who can continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your commitment and your support. And those of you who are using the QR code or the link that is provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank you all for your commitment and for your support as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So let me say this. We're having a little technical difficulty. I'm not quite certain what went wrong. We're trying to figure it all out, but we're live right now. Some of our notifications did not go off today, and then we had a little internal issue going on here in the studio. So we are here in 3D as always, and we are now live, and we are live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and if you go to YouTube, Daily Divine Direction, you will find every broadcast is archived in perpetuity. And we encourage you to stay connected with us throughout the day, throughout the week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, by tuning in to our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio. WKAPfaith.com is our website. Tune in, listen, and enjoy as we play music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have met some interesting and extremely successful people lately. However, you are not certain if you are capable of developing and maintaining a relationship. So let me begin by saying this. It's a great thing when you meet people who have exceeded what you have accomplished and what you are trying to accomplish. Those are people that you can emulate, that you can garner information from, that you are able to then continue to move forward. The truth of the matter is what you're feeling is unworthy from a spiritual aspect. What you're feeling is inferior from a worldly aspect. But we have to know that we are made perfectly in God's eyes. Whatever our shortcomings might be and whatever struggles we might find challenging, meaning, being able to communicate with people on a different level. So I will say this. It is profound to me when we all understand that we are created in the image of God and in his likeness, that we find it difficult to be around people who have exceeded our own accomplishments. Now, I'm a firm believer, and I will say this, I've said this in a Sunday sermon previously, but I will say this again today. I have investment partners who have all exceeded what I have always worked to accomplish. They all have, they've all exceeded that level. And this is not, these are people who have created generational wealth. And do I think I'm on the same level that they are on professionally? Well, because they've embraced me as an investment partner, I can feel comfortable knowing that these have been, they're long-term relationships and investment partnerships. So it's not like you can break up the pieces without a lot of additional work. But they've exceeded everything I have ever desired to accomplish. And I've desired to accomplish a lot in my lifetime. But the reality is we have to be really humble enough to say it's good to be around them. Even though, they're in geographically different locations. The communication that we have on a consistent basis, the dialogue that is created among us fuels me, because I understand that as long as I keep working and developing to get to the place that I desired to accomplish, it was feasible. And that's hard for many people to understand, because we've been taught by society that we are less than. We've been taught by society that we are not qualified. We're not on the same level with many people. But the truth of the matter is, when you understand that you're made in the image of God and in the likeness of Him, watch this. That means that I'm perfectly made the way I am. No matter what that looks like, no matter what, it may not appeal to others, but it's perfect in God's eyes. I'm not perfect, but what He's created is perfect. It's useful to God to glorify Him. Now, having said that, I'm also made in the likeness of Him, which means I have the opportunity to be like Him, I can't be God, I can't be Jesus, but I can be like Him in the sense of being a creator and an innovator and being the very best that I can be, that He's created me to be. So you have this, God is not the respecter of persons. You have the same opportunity. The problem in our society today is that we also want immediate gratification. We want to be gratified temporarily. Immediate gratification, as long as it's long term, it means that I'm gratified now, but the gratification will last for decades to come. That's a positive. Now, having said that, you're in the presence of people now who are interesting and extremely successful. And that means that what God has done is open the door of opportunity that no man can shut, only you can shut. So you begin developing the relationship by listening, making yourself available to extract and absorb the information. That's the first thing. That's the first step. And then the next step is to not only absorb and extract the information, but then implement the information that you've extracted and continue to maintain it. Now, the next thing is maintaining the relationship. So most people who are more successful than you are to date and have accomplished more than you've accomplished to date, all they really want from you is that you become successful, that you maximize your success. Let me rephrase that. Because you've become successful, but now you need to maximize your success. So you've got to know that God does all things perfect. all things perfect, all things well. What he's done in you, he's done with a purpose in mind, and that is so that you can experience the fullness of God. And so I want to remind you again, developing the relationships will require you to make yourself available and to listen, to absorb information. And then implementing the information means that you're then going to begin to maximize your success. Maintaining the relationship will be by them observing or witnessing you maximizing your success. That will help you to maintain that relationship. Because that's all anybody who really is interested in having a relationship with you that's exceeded what you want to accomplish, and then that's all they really want from you. They don't need anything else from you except to know that you're moving forward, that you're making progress, that you're maximizing your success. That is truly the return on their investment of the relationship. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband says that you want to control everything. However, you now realize that you do struggle with some control issues. And you want to know, what can you do to address his concerns? Well, it's one thing to address his concerns. You should be concerned about that also. Because the reality is that first and foremost, we have to recognize that one of the ways you're going to not only reduce stress, but eliminate stress, is to realize what you are not responsible for controlling. See, here's the thing. For all of us, we have to be fully persuaded and understand that God is in control of all things. God knows exactly what he wants to do at all times. We have to be humble enough to let God do whatever he's doing and not try to take control. We cannot be God. However, having said that, we are all assigned by God certain and specific things to do. There are certain things in our lives. So, for example, if you're a parent, that's an assignment from God. Everyone's not blessed to have children. But if you're a parent, it's an assignment from God, and you have to treat it as an assignment of God, from God. You've got to know that this is what God has called you to do. That's the first thing. As a professional, whatever your career may be, whatever it is, you have to know it's an assignment from God. First of all, it's an assignment. Second of all, it's your marketplace ministry. When you go out into the marketplace, it is a ministry. It is God assigning you the responsibility of demonstrating to others that God is alive and he is real. Maybe I should have put that in reverse. He's real and he's alive. He's a living God. He lives and dwells in us, each of us, to carry out all of the things that God desires for us to carry out in our lives. The purpose that he's placed in each and every one of us. The appointment that he's given us at any specific time. So we have to recognize that. And we have to say to ourselves, okay, everywhere I go, everything I do is my marketplace ministry. In my profession, that's my marketplace ministry. And then we have to recognize that the other assignments that God places in our lives, the people we encounter along the way, obviously the people in your household, you're responsible for them. But those people that you encounter on a daily basis in your life, they're assignments from God. They're an opportunity to witness that God is real in your life, that God is working in you and through you to build a better kingdom, we say spiritually, but to make a better society, create a better society. So we have to take all of those things into consideration. All of those things have to be part of the equation of our lives. We have to recognize how important that truly is, because God is constantly working in us and through us. So we're on an assignment, but our assignment is not to control everything. The serenity prayer says, God, give me the strength to, I'm going to paraphrase, give me the strength to do what I must do, to accept the things that I cannot do, and be wise enough to know the difference. There's peace in that. You got to be strong enough and have the courage enough to do what God has assigned you to do. By faith. Do it no matter what it might look like, no matter how it might appear. Just do it. You've all heard me say this before. Nike has built a multi-billion-dollar company off of one slogan, and now continues to grow by slogans they continue to create. But just do it. Just do what God assigns us to do. We will experience a better quality of life, and we will begin to not only maximize our success, but experience the fullness of God in all of our lives. These are important components of our everyday life, the quality of life that we live. But when we try to control everything, all we really do is stress ourselves out, because we're really not in control of anything. God is in control of it all. And we've got to know that, we've got to understand that, and we've got to be fully persuaded of that. We all have an assignment from God, but our assignment is not to control everything. So I'll give some personal real-time examples. I know exactly what God has assigned for me to control. I know that. I'm not going to get out of my lane and try to control things that God hasn't assigned me to control. But in order to know that and make that decision, it requires a different relationship with the Lord than I just know you. It's going to require that we get in his presence, get a better understanding, that we're in his word, that we are searching the scriptures to determine how we can apply them to our daily lives, whether it's through the history of the Bible, whether it's through the encouragement of the Bible, or whether it's through working out our own salvation. These are all parts of getting to really know exactly what God assigns us to control. So, for example, you're assigned the responsibility of controlling your household, making certain that everyone becomes developed to be a great citizen. That's an assignment from God. And when our children are small, intermediate, young adults, we're responsible for controlling their lifestyle. We're all responsible for that when we have children. When they become adults, we may do things that will enhance their lifestyle, but we're not responsible for controlling them because they're now adults. And at some point, they too have to develop their own relationship with the Lord. They can't depend on your relationship forever. Now, they can depend on you praying for them daily. They can depend on you covering them daily. They can depend on you being there to support them throughout life. Let me rephrase that. To encourage them throughout life. We don't want our children, our grown adult children, being on the payroll of our lives. Meaning a line item on our budget for them. Because if they have a relationship with the Lord, He's their source of provision. He is going to be their provider just like He's your provider. We can't control them. Because you have younger children, you still think it's part of your responsibility to control them. Pardon me. You think that it's your responsibility to control them and everyone else around you. It's not your job. And that's what your husband's really saying to you. He's saying to you, listen, we are responsible for our children. We're not responsible for everyone else. And that's reality. Everyone has to get their own relationship with the Lord in order to know their purpose and fulfill their purpose. And until they do that, people are going to wander aimlessly trying to figure it out. I want to say to you, the way that you can best address this issue, his concerns, and you should be concerned about this yourself, and that is only focus on controlling what God assigns you to control, and you'll know what that is if you work on your relationship with the Lord. He'll show you. He's not gonna assign anything to you that you're not capable of being responsible for. We all have to stay in our lane. God's lane's much bigger than our lane. If we just stay in our lane, we'll be able to run this race and finish our course, knowing that what God has for us is a crown that we can place upon our heads when we hear those words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything that a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt attire today. If you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And if you order right now from ctshirts.com, 3 high-quality shirts will be delivered to you for $99. 3 high-quality cotton shirts at ctshirts.com for $99. And this segment is also brought to you by The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on 5th Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are not going to wait until the new year to begin making changes in your lifestyle. And you asked, do I have any suggestions on how to make a complete change? So that's a very interesting question, because a complete change is more in depth than just making some changes or resolutions in the new year. I say to God in the new year, to God be the glory that you're not going to wait until the new year to begin making changes in your lifestyle. I realize that the holidays are going to be coming up in the last quarter of the year, so it's really good that you're doing this now, establishing a new routine, establishing a new lifestyle, so that even during the holidays you can still enjoy yourself, you just won't overdo it. But I will begin by saying, first of all, this. However, I will begin by saying this. First and foremost, think about this. Every first Thursday of the month, we have with us Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. BeccaTheDietitian.com. So, BeccaTheDietitian.com. So, let me say this. Today's Thursday. 1 week from now, it will be the first Thursday of the month. Scheduling permitted, because Becca does have a career, but outside of this broadcast, okay? Every first Thursday of the month, she gives of her time as a monthly contributor to share with us everything about diet and nutrition that will enhance our health and wellness. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, she also talks to us about fitness. I've told you before, she's a picture of health. So she's talked to us about fitness so that we could enhance our health and wellness. But I can give you some real recommendations on making a complete change. First of all, I'll do this with a little humor by saying, if you want to make a complete change, stop doing all of the things that you've always done and got the same results. That's the very first thing we can do to make a complete change in our lifestyle. If you've been doing anything and consistently and have not gotten different results, stop doing it. It's not working. So you want to make those changes first. And then so it's very interesting, you want to do a SWOT analysis on your entire life, both personal and professional. What strengths can you identify? What weaknesses can you improve? What opportunities have you missed, but that are presented to you that you're not going to miss moving forward? And then what are the threats? What are the things that keep you from making the changes? Is it complacency? Is it procrastination? We've got to examine those things. The Bible says let a man or a woman examine themselves. So we've got to, and the only way to really do that effectively and efficiently is to do a SWOT analysis on our entire life, both personally and professionally. So from a personal perspective, one of the things, obviously, health and wellness. So you've got to make whatever changes you can make in your personal life that will enhance your health and wellness. That's the first thing. And then you want to work on your cognitive. What can you do better from a perspective of being focused and attentive? What can you do better from a cognitive perspective that will help you make better decisions, or make decisions that are going to result in enhancing the quality of your life? That's something we have to examine. So body, mind, and spirit. How can you improve your spiritual well-being? Because that's a big component of that's literally 1/3 of the component of our lives. Now, all of those things are wrapped up in our relationship with God. Body, mind, and spirit. But what can we do differently from a spiritual perspective that's going to lead to experiencing the fullness of God? Got to examine that. And then from a professional perspective, you have to say, your SWOT analysis has to look at how you can be the very best version of yourself that you can possibly be. Don't compete with anybody else, compete with yourself. How can I be the best version of myself that I can possibly become? At no matter what you do, no matter what your career or your profession might be, what can I do to be the best version of myself? A SWOT analysis will help you do that every single time. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you, and may God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Remember, we're Facebook Live, we're YouTube Live at Daily Divine Direction, and we want you to stay tuned in